So
You're
I was
holding it like a pointer.
I was
I'm just
holding
like,
it.
How did you even get as far as you did that way?
Directly up and down. And I was like, yeah, I'm just having a really hard time. And you were like, wow, I mean, this is kind of like one of the easier games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then you were like, well, let me watch you play and see what you.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the start of
Castlevania!
That's right. This is the very first Castlevania, 1987.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is where it all begins.
Is that an airship?
No, that's supposed to be a
Headed for
cloud.
the skies.
Nope, that's just a dark cloud.
Dark clouds. Okay, so right now it seems pretty similar to Rebirth.
Yes. Yeah, so Rebirth was kind of just like a modern reimagining of this formula.
Okay.
This is all about Simon Belmont
Oh my god.
going
they move
on
so
to
fast.
stop Dracula. And it was
Dracula.
Dracula. Part of a trilogy on the NES, and this was like Konami's big franchise for a time. And until they became shitholes, it was in my top 5 game franchises. And in a lot of cases, it still is. It's just a very fun franchise. I always go back and play these games and have a good time. They're hard as balls, they're frustrating, but there's just a satisfaction to them.
I think it's like they're simple enough, but it's like, look at how much faster the bad guys move than how you move.
The design of this is very deliberate. Like, you have the whip, which gives you a lot more range, which I think is the coolest thing about Castlevania's uniqueness is you expect all these heroes to have, like, swords or guns, and, like, at the time you play Castlevania, you're just like, a whip?
Yeah.
That's odd. But they utilize the whip in so many interesting ways that it's just like, my least favorite Castlevanias are the ones where you don't have a whip.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, the whip is part of what makes Castlevania.
Yeah.
It's so uniquely Castlevania.
I think the thing that I like the most about the Castlevania games are the wall chickens.
You like the wall chickens?
Yeah. I just think it's fun, like...
Castlevania Anniversary Collection on my Nintendo Switch. It has 6 Castlevania games and 1 bonus game called Kid Dracula.
Okay.
Which was kind of like a goofy parody of Castlevania starring Baby Alucard.
Oh.
And you go on this kind of like weird adventure that's definitely different from Castlevania. Like, the whole format it's a whole different gameplay style.
Okay.
But it was released only in Japan, and for the first time was translated onto an American release with this anniversary collection.
Anytime I hear Kid Dracula, I just think of Death the Kid.
Yeah, Death the Kid.
And I'm just like, aw, Death the Kid. And I'm like, no, that's different. I see that bat.
So this is our first boss, the Phantom Bat. And for
him.
this boss, you definitely want to stay away from the stairs because they can screw you up. Because to use your sub-weapons, like the cross, the axe, you have to press up and B. Because at the time, the NES only had 2 buttons.
Yeah.
Like, you've yet to hold an original NES controller. You've held the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
But you have yet to hold the regular NES.
I didn't think how much
basic.
like the controller would actually affect the gameplay, and it does. Like, you know, I've learned that I really like the Wii U. I think that's my favorite one.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But like the PlayStation controllers, I'm just not a fan of.
Okay.
There's so many buttons and so many things to do.
Right.
And then the one that I find the most awkward to hold is like the one that has, it looks like a bat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
64? Nintendo 64?
I think so. It has like the 2 long pieces on either side, and then it has the 1 long piece in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the Nintendo 64.
It's not like bad, but it's just
it's
awkward.
Yes. You're not the first person to say that. You certainly will not be the last.
like I said, though, it's not bad. It's just weird.
Yeah. For the longest time, one of my least favorite controllers was the Xbox 360 because I felt that had too many buttons. And that button in the middle was so close to the start button that I kept hitting it. And if you hit it too many times, it would restart the console.
Oh.
and I did not like that at all.
I don't think I've held the Xbox controllers.
You had to have, because that's how you played Alice. American McGee's Alice.
Okay. See, I have that issue a lot of just, like, hitting the wrong button.
God. This is the debut of the Medusa heads.
Ugh.
Even back then, they were a pain in the ass. But the first Castlevania is very heavily focused on using sub-weapons as well. There's an importance to them. Like, you see that Roman numeral 2 in the corner? In the upper right-hand corner.
Yes.
Okay. When you collect those, the 2s, the 3s, you can throw 2 or 3 of them at a time.
Oh.
And like, oh shit, careful. If you get 3 of them at a time, you can obliterate enemies. The problem is when you die, you're set back to 1.
Yeah.
So like, there is a reward to where the game becomes almost too easy because you're borderline invincible. But if you die, you're back to square one, and the game becomes even harder.
See, and
because you're in a harder part of the level without the upgrades.
That one's my favorite. I like the watch.
The stopwatch?
Yeah.
Yeah, the stopwatch is cool until, oh, gimme. There we go. There's the 3.
I feel like I wouldn't have beat the game if I didn't have the stopwatch.
The stopwatch?
Yeah.
The best one in this game is actually the holy water because it stuns enemies and you can lock them and keep throwing holy water at them to defeat them, even some bosses.
Oh.
The hardest part is it is hard to keep the holy water through some of these levels.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I forget what boss it was, but where they have like weapon after weapon, so you have to like jump over the ones you don't want.
Okay. Yeah. That's the final boss, actually.
Yeah, and it's like, you know you're screwed if you end up with the knife.
Yep. Yeah, the knife is the one sub-weapon that you don't want to get.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, god damn it, I have the knife. Like, I'm gonna die.
Whereas in Ghosts and Goblins, the Capcom game, you want to get the knife because it's rapid fire.
Oh, okay.
It's faster than the other weapons you have.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the antithesis of Castlevania.
Using our big words.
What a long words there were not but humble pirates. But yeah, I didn't play this game first. The first Castlevania game I played was for the Super Nintendo, Super Castlevania 4. In fact, I didn't even own an NES because my dad's NES was like unfunctioning by the time I was old enough to play video games.
Yeah.
So it was later on, as I was closer to like my college years, that I bought an NES online and got like 10 games and was able to play the Castlevanias for the first time, the original 3. And I like 2 of them.
See, my sister, I think it was the original Nintendo. My sister had it, and she would play Duck Hunt.
Check this out. The Medusa statue comes alive. And this is our second boss.
Medusa!
But she is the easiest boss, because you can get her stuck and then just wail at her.
Just stuck in a corner.
Yep. And there you go. Especially if you have the stopwatch, there's nothing you can do. You can lock her in place.
I figured for Dracula, anything that would like lock him anywhere just won't work on him. The cat
sneezing in the background. Brother.
Oh my goodness. So Wesker wouldn't move when we were setting up to record. So you had to go get string cheese.
Yep. Stringy cheese.
But my cats really love string cheese too, so we all shared one of the string cheeses. And I have a video of Milo looking at his piece, and it's just so cute.
So, this level is when the game starts getting hard for the average player. Like, Castlevania is deceiving. The first 2 levels, just like, okay, a little tricky, but not bad.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, there's only 3 levels left. Time to bust your ass.
See, the thing that, like, the issue I was having when I first started playing Rebirth,
Adventure Rebirth.
There we go. Too many renewing words. I was holding the Wiimote the wrong way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I was
holding it like a pointer.
I was holding it.
How did you even get as far as you did that way?
Directly up and down. And I was like, yeah, I'm just having a really hard time. And you were like, wow, I mean, this is kind of like one of the easier games. Like, and then you were like, well, let me watch you play and see what you're doing. And you're like, why are you holding the remote like that?
Yeah, immediately I'm just like, I think I see the problem. Yoink.
And I was like, I just
There
don't
you
understand that
go.
if you want to move forward, you have to press down, and like if you need to jump, you press over, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
But another thing about the old Castlevanias are you like have a fixed jump trajectory.
Yeah.
To where you're jumping, you commit to it. Once you jump, like he's going in that direction. There's not flexibility like in other games, and even later Castlevanias where you can control your jump.
Yeah.
Like he has a very stiff hoop.
Yep.
And,
And
like,
go.
Knockback as well.
See, the knockback is what I started getting really frustrated with, because I would get hit by a Medusa head and then knock back and fall onto a pit of spikes and die.
Yeah, so the knockback is atrocious.
Yeah, but if you play on easy, the knockback is taken away.
There is none of that in the original Castlevania.
Well,
This is what it is. You have the knockback. You have to survive. And like one day I would like you to play the original Castlevania because it is expertly designed.
I feel like...
And especially because on the Anniversary Collection, there are save slots.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I feel like if I can save, I would be much happier than like, you need to do this in one run or else you have to start completely over.
Exactly. Now, the benefit of the original, even on the NES cartridge, was you had unlimited continues. It wasn't like in Adventure Rebirth, which is like 3 continues left and you get booted back. No, you get booted back to the title screen. Oops. You get booted back to the title screen only if you turn off the console.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the Mummy Twins. They can be a little overwhelming. Boy. I might die here. Oh no, I already got one. So there's just one left.
I'm extremely interested in mummies.
Haha!
Maybe not necessarily like in this realm of like video games or movies, but like in real life, like real life mummies.
Yeah.
I think they're really interesting.
Well, they would like bury with their prized possessions, weren't they?
Oh yeah, including their slaves.
I did remember reading about that.
They would bury the pharaohs and then put their slaves in the tomb alive, and then they would just like slowly starve to death. Like there's evidence of like in cases where there's a lot of slaves of cannibalism, people eating each other.
Ew.
To stay alive, and it's like, at that point it's kind of like, well, why bother?
Yeah. This level is brutal.
It looks kind of brutal.
Like, you got bats flying from all angles, moving platforms. Belmonts can't swim for shit.
They touch water and they just dissolve.
They're just like, oh, cramp! And, like, this was the recording when you came in and I was like, no!
Oh my god, I was...
And you heard
I was
me
just
from
like,
upstairs.
alright, I'm just gonna go back downstairs.
Damn it.
Yeah.
But see, because I was fully powered when I first entered this level, it was a lot easier. Now I'm back to square one with the puss-ass whip that I gotta upgrade back to the long whip. And then I gotta find my sub-weapons. It's not a good time. Shit!
Well, at least you... I just died.
It's okay.
At least the pushback from that monster put you onto
he pushed
a
me
platform.
forward. Shit!
Well.
Easy come, easy go. God in heaven. I was doing good, too. I didn't really have that many deaths. And then you come here and it's just like, Van Dyke took that personally.
Just kidding.
Welcome. Welcome to my castle.
Who's your favorite Muppet? The Count. He doesn't count. I can assure you he does.
But, yeah. So, Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, is more of an adventure game. It's not set in, like, level after level.
Okay.
You have to explore an overworld. There's a day and night cycle. It's very clunky, but I like the concept. Castlevania 3 is actually the one that the anime is based off of.
Okay.
It's Dracula's Curse. It stars Trevor Belmont, Cypher Belnades, Alucard, and Grant Dynasty, who was omitted from the cartoons. Because apparently, having a pirate is too much for Wallachia.
Well, I mean, it might have gotten a little muddy. Didn't they just, like, incorporate him into a lady?
They incorporated him across, like, multiple characters and be like, there's your Grant. Which one? Annie, pick one.
Because I know, like, a lot of movies and things do that. They'll just, like, change a series of characters into one character or vice versa.
Yeah, that turned out to be the case with the Black Cauldron for Disney. They combined a lot of characters into one character.
Yeah.
And from what we were talking about, The Wizard of Oz combined a lot of characters as well.
Well, they just omitted them.
Oh, they just flat out just went like,
so it's
you're
like,
out.
in the movie The Wizard of Oz, we only see...
They pulled a Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, we only see Glinda the Good Witch.
Shit! I missed that too!
Oh. But we only see Glinda the Good Witch.
Uh-huh.
Whereas there is another good witch.
But see, like, you can stun them and then just
go
pop
ham.
them. There we go. I got my 2 and my 3. Because this is pretty much the hardest boss in the game, I think. Frankenstein and Igor. You can freeze Frankenstein, but Igor will eventually bounce all over the place.
Igor,
whatever.
Igor is from
Igor.
Young Frankenstein.
Oh, that's the joke.
Yeah, that's the joke. Because he goes,
Okay.
it's not Frankenstein, it's Frankenstein. And he goes, okay, it's not Igor, it's Igor. And then he, like, uses his, like, weird big eyeball.
Okay. Igor, can you help me with the bag? Certainly. You take the blonde, I'll grab the one with the turban.
Yeah.
Wow.
Bruh.
So we're almost done already. We have 2 levels left, but this is the bane of my existence. The infamous level 5.
Ooh.
Because the original Castlevania has health stacking. To where in the first level, when you get hit, you lose 2 points.
Okay.
We're in level 5 right now. I got hit once, I lose 4 now.
Ooh.
And apparently that was a glitch that was only in the American version. The original Japanese version, Vampire Killer, doesn't have that glitch to where if I still got hit, I lose 2 points.
Okay.
So in this instance, the American version,
It's
through a
harder,
glitch, is
yeah.
harder than the Japanese
Which
version.
never happens. The Japanese, I feel like the Japanese see Americans as, like, all children.
Yes,
They're like, oh, this is too hard.
because
for our-
they've done that with Mario games
for our
and
special
Final
American
Fantasy.
friends.
The reason why some people consider Final Fantasy Mystic Quest the worst Final Fantasy is because it was intentionally designed for
For the U.S.
the US. So they really like watered it down.
Well, see, to a point, like, I
'Cause
can't even
Japan,
blame
its
them.
official title is Final Fantasy USA.
Yeah.
Whereas in the US it's called Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
See, like, and to a degree, I can't even blame them.
Okay.
Because look at what they did to, like, old school animes. Like,
Yeah.
you know, Sailor Moon, for example, just because that is one I am very familiar with, is like the Japanese had this anime that had things that were okay in their culture and just
Yeah.
things that were natural for them. And then the USA gets to it and they're like, oh my God, we can't have this.
Yep.
And then they just completely ruin what was intended.
Correct.
So it's like, I can't really blame them for taking video games and being like, oh, well, they're, you know, Americans are a little too, you know, iffy for this one. Let's change it for them. So it's like,
Let's make it easier and
yeah.
water it down so
and
they
then you
understand.
have people that, like us, that are just like, no, that's silly. But then you have, like, people like our parents, maybe not both of our parents, but like my parents, that were like, oh my God, you can't watch that.
Right. No, I definitely understand. But like, it's not even censoring though. Like, they neutered the mechanics
Yeah.
to be like,
To be
this is how
easier.
you equip a shield. This is an ice enemy.
Yeah.
He's weak to fire.
Yeah, and then they
And
clap your
people are
hands
just
for you,
like-
like, yay!
Basically what the
And you're
victory
just-
theme sounds like. Just like, well done! You did it! You killed an orc! Whee!
There's, like, that's something that I am totally fascinated by, and if I could find books on it, I would, which is just, like, in-depth cultural differences.
Okay.
just because I'm so fascinated by that. Even, like, with how they treat children. Like, here, we're very much like, you can't do that to my kid. You can't say that to them. They can't have this. They can't do that. And then it's like, whereas in Japan, they're just like, well.
I hate this. Because he's basically glitching
he's
through
going
the wall.
in and out.
So only when he comes in can I hit him. Does a hit register? So, like, I technically have him stuck.
What was like that playing Aladdin? Because they have, like, they know that I'm there, so if I'm, like, hanging off a wall, the guy won't move so that I can get up off the wall.
Right.
He'll just stand there, and then I have to drop down into the abyss. Or just keep glitching because he just pushes me back off the wall. Yeah.
So yeah, now we got these guys. And they're the hardest enemy of the game. Because they got their big shields, they take a lot of hits, and they can shoot a boomerang axe up or through a crouch.
Oh.
So you gotta watch where it's going because it comes back.
I like the stance of those skeletons.
The red skeletons.
They just like crouch a little bit.
Yeah, well, red skeletons cannot die. When you destroy them, they just like crumble, and then a couple seconds later, they rise again. Yeah. And we live again.
I just like, they remind me of Schmeagol.
Master must get the hobbits' new whip.
Like, they have, I call it my T-Rex arms.
Okay.
But their, like, little arms are pulled up, and they're just, like, crouching a little.
Yeah.
That's how I snuck up on you in your car when you were at work.
Oh my god.
That's the exact stance I had.
Looked like a... Now I'm just picturing you as like a red skeleton, just like...
Just like sneaking up to you.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'll get you. I'll get you. I'll crush their bones. Diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle. Son of a bitch. All right, come on, we can do this. And I got the very weak-ass whip. I don't even have good range.
Oh, so those go all the way in this one, too. Like, in the Rebirth, they have a limit to how far they go.
Oh, yeah.
So you can, like, stand out of reach.
Yep.
So if you don't have the long whip, you can get close when they're not firing, fire it, and then move back.
Yeah. No, in this one, they go all the way off screen. No, in some aspects, this is much harder than Adventure Rebirth.
I feel like that's why they did the Adventure Rebirth. They fixed a lot of the things that were probably...
cheap.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. Well, what's interesting is the eShop got an update a couple months later after the Anniversary Collection launched, and you can switch to the Japanese version of all the games.
Oh.
So
without like a Japanese console?
Exactly. Like they had it as just like a bonus feature for buying the Castlevania collection. So you can play the Japanese version, and like I have it on here. And it's the same game, but like it doesn't have the health glitch. And I think there's a couple other like small details that are altered. Son of a bitch!
He dies so dramatically.
Yes, he does. He just falls over like, oh, 'tis the end, my beloved Rosa.
Yeah, because I made that.
Farewell.
I made that mistake in college. I tried to buy a Sailor Moon movie, a DVD, and I bought it on. It wasn't eBay, but it was a site similar to eBay.
Gotcha.
And it was from Europe. And when it came,
region locked.
Yeah, when it got here, I couldn't play it on my DVD player because it wasn't.
There are hacks on like how you can override that stuff.
I was so upset because I wanted nothing more
than
to watch this movie in an English dub. Just because I'm really bad sometimes at like reading subtitles while I'm trying to watch.
All right, so I want you to take a look at what's happening here. So we have a hallway full of Medusas and axe guys throwing axes at you. The Medusas are gonna keep on coming, so you have to take the aggressive end. You have to watch the pattern of them while also avoiding these guys throwing their axes both up and down. So there is always shit flying at you.
Yeah, I'd be...
This is the infamous Castlevania hallway.
I would cry.
And here is the infamous Castlevania boss. Behold, Death, the Grim Reaper.
See, I really liked him in Rebirth.
Oh, because, like, he has, like, standard battle strategies? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Animations, that's what I'm trying to get at. Because in this one, his
Yeah,
size
this
just
is-
show up spontaneously to where they can show up right on top of you. Fuck! All right, in the next part, we're gonna do it
Again.
correctly.
Toodles.
Let's do it again, but better.